put to the live premiere, and as you can probably already tell, it's Clyde. It's all about the Loud House for today, and I'm not sure how long this will be, but I like turning these into live premieres now, just being able to discuss the character in real time, and then for people who want to tune in to the live premiere, they can be able to listen in, and if you don't want to watch the full video, you can refer to the description to check out all the ideas for each character request. It's been 3 months, if you can believe it. It's been quite a while since I've done a character request. The series is still going on, but these characters take a lot of time to make, and even the custom thumbnails are built from the ground and well, they're created from the ground up basically, and to make them stand out and to really give that particular character a spotlight, to really be able to stand out for the moves that they can do. So every character is going to be a little bit different when they come out for the character requests, and there's so many to really just go through. And the one thing I want to just try to explain, because some people might not wonder, well, might not know if they're new just watching this for the first time. I like picking the characters that are from different shows, and I don't like picking the same characters from separate shows. Like my most recent one was a live action character from 3 months ago, iCarly, Carly Shay, of how she could play. And some of those certain characters take a lot of time to try to implement ideas. It's all about rewatching the shows, being able to find out what the characters are about and get to know the characters. If it's a show that I haven't seen before, it's not going to always be a show that I know about or a show that I already seen, or I'm going to purposely pick characters that I know to make the series easier for me. I'm taking the challenge of really being able to challenge myself and put in the extra effort and doing the research and putting in the extra work to probably come up with some of the best ideas that I could possibly come up with for that particular character. Even if it's a live action character, even if it's a show that's not Nickelodeon, that could probably end up getting in as a third party character. A lot has changed when it comes to Nickelodeon and when it comes to the decisions that they're making. Look what's going on now. Some of these characters that y'all see on the screen for this title for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 are headed to Sonic Racing Crossroads, if you can believe it. These characters are headed to Sonic Racing Crossroads, and what's stopping them from getting more? Sega can do just about anything that they want. And also, something else I want to bring to the table and just mention before we get into everything about Clyde for this moveset request. They actually posted a Sonic Racing Crossroads anime. A Sonic Racing Crossroads animation is coming out later this year. So they're cooking a lot of stuff. They're tapping into different worlds and making a lot of different moves with that series. And now they could definitely get quite a few additional characters if they wanted to from the Nickelodeon universe, the Nickelodeon cartoon universe, the NCU, if they wanted to, because we already got SpongeBob. They already got SpongeBob and Patrick, the TMNT, and then the Avatar Legends, who could basically be Aang, Korra, or anyone else that they want to get from the Avatar series alone. So it just shows you the amount of just how things are just changing with the gaming community and just all the different collaborations that's happening. I want to see more of these characters. Hopefully they'll be able to get into the roster. I don't know if they're going to end up getting more, but I don't know. I'm sure they can get just about anyone that they wanted to or they want to. So I wanted to just bring that out because it just goes to show you that all the different things that's going on, all the different things that's changing with these Nickelodeon titles and these crossovers. So before I get into Clyde, I wanted to just also explain just how I pick the characters. So I like mixing up the characters so that way it's not from the same show. So I'm always trying to do different character ideas so that way it's not the same show just getting picked, and then other people can get a chance to have their characters selected in these kind of videos for the series. This series is only for subscribers only, and I'm only going to take certain requests. It's not going to be the same person just getting their characters. I want to make it fair to everyone else so others can be able to have a chance to get the characters they want to see for moveset requests and things like that. So even though the game is over and done with, maybe what we have left now is looking towards the future, because a lot is headed towards when it comes to the characters for the future, what they're doing for these titles for Nickelodeon, like Dice of Destiny, for example. We got Timmy, so now he could probably be able to make it into the upcoming crossover games if they end up going that route. So we just don't know what's going to happen yet. So I wanted to just start with that for a little bit of an intro, and it's just explain all the different things. And it's been so many games and updates that I've been talking about. That's why I slowed down on the character request series. So the series is going to continue. It just is going to take a little bit longer to get some of the characters done and get them out in time, in the mix of trying to balance everything in the schedule for other games, announcements, and other stuff that's going on behind the scenes for the channel that I'm cooking up, and even more later this month that I'm excited for. So we're gonna get into Clyde McBride from the Loud House. I don't see many people talk about him from this game. He's not even in this series. He never really got picked up. As far as DLC, he hasn't got picked up for new characters or a character as an available playable brawler in the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl series. We ended up getting Loud House characters such as Lincoln or the siblings themselves. This game hits a lot different because we only got one Loud House character, which is shocking because Lincoln Loud got the boot and he got kicked out of the roster or cut from the roster, and he's no longer a playable character. Hopefully they can bring him back. And getting to know Clyde, I would love to see him as a playable character, just seeing what he's capable of and just being able to find out more about his story, what he's really like, and just seeing the rage he has. It just unlocks his potential to really be a brawler and to be able to stand on his own. He doesn't have to be a clone. And from what I came up with him, I tried as hard as I can to not make him stand out as a fighter of him for himself and not be some Lincoln Loud clone fighter or echo fighter. Clyde has his own abilities and his own techniques and potential, and that's what I wanted to do for this moveset request for Clyde, is to make him a little bit more of a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. And that's the goal for any series, any character that I add for the series, is to make them stand out and give them unique moves that make sense for the character and it fits their vibe and what they do, based on what they do and how they act and behave in the show. So it took a while to really try to put this together, to really try to not give him the same moves, but just give him something that makes sense for his character and his style. So Lucy Lau is the only character that's in it, and if you don't already know, Lincoln Loud is the character that's stuck in this castle. He's stuck in a Loud castle, and he needs to be he needs to return. Hopefully he's the main character that really runs the show, and he's the face of the Loud House, where he's usually involved in every single episode. Sure, the siblings have their own stories, but they definitely need to bring back the main character from the show. And why not Clyde? Because Clyde has been involved in the Nickelodeon Kart Racer series. He made it back to back in both of those games. Maybe he can be a playable character in this All-Star Brawl 3 if it does end up happening in the near future, maybe the next year or the year after. They need to have more time to work on these games, so they're not just coming out as rushed products. This is a much better product, but the roster is so different now because it was so many cuts and roster changes. We got some newcomers, new faces, people wanted to see, just like me, for example, LT Gray. There's so much more that you can see from the roster. It's just not the same. A lot of changes were made, but it's still a great game for what it is. So for this portion, every portion is just going to be divided into, timestamps in the description. So you can click on the portion of the video that you want to listen to. If you want to listen to his backstory, we're going to start with that first. So we can get to know the character for people who don't know who he is or never seen the Loud House before, and find out what kind of character who Clyde is for his backstory, and then we'll get into the stages, the costumes, and then the taunts animations, and then the moveset to close out. So this might end up being on the longer side, but that's what the timestamps are for, so you can pick and choose what you want to listen to, even if you don't want to watch the full video. And the moveset is also going to be in the description right after the premiere if it isn't already live in the description to read through. If you want to take a look at what I came up with, that's completely fine too. And if you have a request, you can also drop your request in the live premiere chat, or the comments, and I'll be able to add them to the list. It's gonna take a while to get to everybody else's, but I want to try to mix in different characters from heroes and villains. So not every character is a protagonist. It's been quite a so many villains, also other characters from outside of the Nickelodeon universe soon for the series. So it makes the series spicy. It keeps it spicy. It keeps it unpredictable, and it keeps everyone guessing of which character I'm gonna work on next. So that way it's not spoiled. So let's get to know Clyde and his story, and I'm just gonna keep it on the Loud House character, for example, because she's the only one that's playable in the game. But this is Clyde's backstory. What's his story? And getting to know Clyde just in a nutshell. So Clyde is best friends with Lincoln Loud and one of his classmates, and a sidekick that's usually always part of his crazy schemes and his ideas. It could be the dumbest idea. It could be the dumbest idea ever, and Clyde will still join Lincoln for his next adventure. Every episode is a new adventure. Every episode is different. It's something new that goes on. It's something new that's going on in the Loud House. And Clyde is almost as if he's part of the family because he's usually around the Loud House in the first place. Well, the Loud House siblings and hanging out with Lincoln Loud because they're best buddies. And they go to school together, as I mentioned, with their classmates. So they both like the same movies, TV shows, toys, and they're into the Ace Savvy, the hero, the crime fighter, and things like that. And that's something I also wanted to utilize for my ideas for this character for Clyde to match up with his interests and his character and personality all into one. He has this secret crush on Lori Loud. It's crazy. He has this secret crush on Lori Loud and can never act normal when she's around. Clyde spends so much time at the Loud House, so it's almost like he's part of the family. So just my little take on this character. I just noticed that most of the Loud House fans out there that could be listening to this, they don't really mention Cloud as much, and he doesn't seem to be a fan favorite at all. A lot of people just mention Lincoln Loud. Maybe some people just favorite Lincoln Loud only, but some people like certain siblings in the family. And I'm not a Loud House, know it all. I don't know every little bit of the Loud House of the TV show and the facts and things like that. But some people I've seen say Lucy Loud isn't really much of a fan favorite, and some people don't understand why she's continuously getting picked up in these games when she doesn't seem to be the favorite and the top favorite Loud House sibling from the show, which could be true. Maybe someone in the chat can correct me. Lucy Loud doesn't seem to be that big of a fan favorite, but she still continues to be successfully getting into the games, and she seems like a great fighter anyway. So nothing against her. So she's been in quite a few of these crossovers from the Nickelodeon Kart Racer series 2 and 3, and then All Star Brawl 1 and 2 successfully. That's multiple titles, while Lincoln Loud just didn't make it back, and Lucy Loud is not even the main character. So just getting to know Clyde and watching the episodes and watching the show for a while, I really like Clyde even more than I thought I would, because I didn't really know too much about the character, but just seeing his abilities, I would want to see him as a playable character in this game to get into it. And since he has been included in some crossover games like the Nickelodeon Kart Racer series that I mentioned, it's a good chance we could see him possibly join the Brawl in the future if we ever get a new game. So that's just basically his backstory. He's best friends with Lincoln Loud, and he's always around him, and just being able to go to school with him and classes and things like that and hang out with him. And he's part of the family, and he's a well-known face around the siblings himself. So that's his backstory, just being able to get to know Clyde and what he's about, and just everything I could really be able to come up with and be able to get from watching this character. And he's very intelligent. He knows a lot more than the average student at the Loud House Middle School, or the Royal Woods School, which is the setting at sometimes where they go to class. He knows a lot more than what they all know. So he's super intelligent, he's super smart, and I wanted to utilize that with some additional ideas for later. to match his little character ideas. So that's his backstory. Now it's time for the stages, which is why I have them on the screen display right here. So these are all the stages that we got for this game and that we'll ever get for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. So we just don't know when the next game is going to come out. If it does happen within the next year or the year after, maybe it could be 3 years from now. But I'm not banking on it to happen anytime soon. I think the developers are obviously working on multiple projects. We got Dice of Destiny, which could also get post-launch content, and then they got that game Speedrunners that's coming to consoles next year. But Dice of Destiny is this year's title for the newest Nickelodeon crossover. And we got a SpongeBob game from a different team as well. So it's a lot of different things that's going on, and changes were made. So we don't know which team could probably end up picking up the third game. Maybe it'll be a different publisher. But I'm gonna just say this now: I low key don't even care who gets to pick up the game or work on the game. If team changes happen, they happen. I just want a great product with continuous content, support, communication, and being able to keep the players engaged and be able to have the players get their questions answered and be able to know what's going on with the title, and not being able to wait till the next character comes out to find out what's really going on, or waiting till the next fighter come in, wait till the next brawler comes in, the next fighter comes in back to back to back, or the next DLC character to come in to really get a response. We got to get some more posts for these kind of games so people can stay in the light, and if there's problems that need to be addressed, they can handle them and be in the know, because that Discord ain't gonna really be able to solve everything. We got to get some public posts on social media so everybody can be able to see what's going on. So if delays happen, characters take a little bit longer, they can be able to address some of that stuff, so we can just be able to stay in the know and stay in the light of what's going on with the titles. So we just don't know what's going to happen if we do get another title, if we do get another game. So the stages that I came up with him, and for Clyde, for his, if he was to ever get in, I don't think Clyde would be a DLC character, but it's just a move set of an idea of how I think he can play. But these stages, the Royalwood Cemetery was a stage from the first game. Now, the first stage I mentioned, the Loud House, it could return, but this was an old stage from the first Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, but it didn't make it back. So I put it that as a stage that can be included with him for his return. And I definitely think he would make base roster. No way he would be DLC. It just wouldn't make sense for him. But the newest stage that we have for this game is the Loud Castle. And this game, well, this stage, I was going to say this game didn't exist. The stage didn't exist in the first game. This is the newest Loud House stage implemented and included that the developers added into this new sequel. But the bad thing is, as I mentioned earlier, guess who's in the castle? It's Lincoln Loud. You're going to find him. You're going to find him there. And he's just stuck as a background character. So this was just the newest stage. And the one thing that didn't make sense is 2 stages, 1 Loud House character. Just take a look. 2 stages, 1 Loud House rep. So it was as if this Loud House stage was going to belong to a different Loud House character. Most people were speculating and predicting it could belong to someone else that could get into the game later on as DLC. I thought the same thing. I just thought it was a new Loud House member, since Lincoln Loud is in the castle as a background character. I thought it was going to be a new Loud House sibling to be able to join Lucy Loud. So unfortunately that didn't happen. But the other stage that I wanted to add into this, and not just settle with the Loud House, I added the Royalwood School, because we don't have this school on display, and that's something else that I noticed, that they added the public school from Hey Arnold. It's a playable track, so maybe they'll go a similar route with it being a stage on for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3. If it happens, it could be another additional stage to be included with any other Loud House rep that ends up getting into the game. It's just still crazy to see more than 1 Loud House stage, but only 1 character from the show being included, while Lincoln Loud was cut and placed into the background of the stage. But it's still a great stage. I love the music. It even has its own, it has 2 different cycles. It has both the day and night cycle, and you can really see the sun. You could really be able to see the background change and see the sun set and turn into, nighttime. It has a day and night cycle. It's just awesome to see how they implemented that for this game. And I think this stage is the only one that has a day and night cycle. Because Tremerton Joyride, it has a different, it was turned into a different variation. See the difference for the background? It just became a stage variation instead, but you don't really get the transition of the two cycles in it. So Loud Castle is just a really unique stage that I really like in this game. Now it's time for the costumes, and the one thing that's different for this game, I want to just try to use, I'll just try one of the DLC characters, for example. I'll use Zuko. For this game, what I like the most about this title is that each character has their own little costume, and it's more than one costume. It's not just a, you know, one costume and or one hat and just call it a day, just like they used to do. Let's try to switch to SpongeBob. See this? This was just his one and only costume from the first game. This game had a lot of quite a few costumes. Every character had more than one costume, which was the best route. So I wanted to use Zuko for example, because he's a DLC character and a new character that got into the roster. Just for a little bit of example, but I like how they did these different costumes and just seeing Lucy Louds. See how she has this. I don't even remember where this is from. See, I haven't seen all the episodes. I don't know where this costume is from. I learned about this one. And then this helmet, I don't know what this one is, but it gives you those vibes. It's as if she could have had something else. Maybe they couldn't add anything else in time. But this is obviously her best costume, so we just want to have her up on here. But I want to just bring up, you know, the Blue Spirit and want to use him as an example because it's an alter ego. It's almost like a different persona. So the one thing that I want to get into for Clyde, his costumes was tough because all he'd wear is the One-Eyed Jack cosplay. So I use alter egos that would be really cool to see as costumes instead of just settling with that One-Eyed Jack costume. Well, let's just give him one costume and just call it a day and just throw in color variations. I wanted to do the extra digging and the research to make more costumes and try to find more costumes that fit him. Now, one in particular I think would be better to see as a unique super. In the characters, if y'all see the thumbnail, I put that on purpose. I wanted that kind of design made because that's going to be his super where he transforms. When he transforms into the Clyde the Warrior. But I'm going to get into that later on going towards the end of the video. So I wanted to add more of his alter egos and different costumes and things like that I managed to see from watching the show. So his first costume, One-Eyed Jack. One-Eyed Jack is Ace Savvy's his sidekick from the comics, and this is something he dresses up with Lincoln Loud. When he dresses up with Lincoln Loud as fans of the Ace Savvy comics. Lincoln and Clyde also to pretend to fight a giant gas monster as Ace and Jack. And I think this alternate costume just belongs because he cosplays as him quite often. So I would say this is just a major go-to costume I think the developers would pick up. And this is from Sleuth or Consequences, the Sleuth or Consequences episode and the Tricked Halloween episode, because he also ended up picking the same cosplay, being able to dress as One-Eyed Jack for Halloween. So I'm trying to fly through these so it doesn't drag on for too long. So, a Christmas costume from a Flipmas Carol, the elf Christmas costume for Clyde. Clydius McBridius, where Clyde wears a white toga, sandals with yellow leaves in his hair from the Europe trip. Greece is the word episode. It just took time to try to find these because I just didn't know what else he would wear besides One-Eyed Jack. So I think that's going to be another costume that he can have. And then I also selected the Waltz Dance Competition, which I call this the Waltz Dance Competition costume, where he wears a new hairstyle, a white suit, pink bow tie, and black shoes. Black shoes in the Out of Step episode when they did the dance competition for the waltz. It was the waltz competition when he danced with his nana on stage, dodging those traps and things like that. And they still managed to end up finding a way to win the contest. And then color variations, and just as I usually say, players could be able to change the colors of his striped shirt, his pants, and his shoes and things like that. So it's just completely different. And I always keep bringing the same characters because they have different colors. Like Purple Reptar, for example, he has a color variation of purple, and then Jenny also has one completely different, rusty or rusted Jenny. But then the perfect character, Ember is the perfect example that I always like to use for color variations. So I threw that in there as well as some kind of bonus. So you can be able to pick the colors that you can pick the colors that you want to wear for the costume itself, and that way they can add some kind of color wheel, because that's something that I noticed that doesn't exist in this game. They don't have a color wheel. So see the L and R button next to the shirt logo at the bottom bottom right hand corner of the screen, as I always bring up. You could be able to press that button, and they can also be able to add a color wheel, so you can adjust the colors that you want to wear. You can mismatch the colors if you want to just look tacky and just play around on the battlefield and just look crazy on the battlefield and have fun online, just to look goofy. They can have, and just for the fun of it, how about a color wheel that could be added for some of these characters, or when the next game comes out, if it does, a color wheel to be able to select a variety of colors so you can wear what you want to wear instead of just being stuck with a color that you don't like on a character. So those are his costumes for this portion of the premiere. Now it's time for the taunts and animations, and I'm gonna just be honest, I had trouble just trying to find the episodes of really being able to locate some of the things that he did and try to really discover what is that episode he does some of these things. But I'm sure Loud House fans out there will be able to know where this is coming from for some of these episodes for the taunts, because I like being able to reference where I get my ideas from the episodes, so it's not rushed and it's not just made up and just rushed to try to get the video done so quickly. I like doing the research to find out where exactly these where and when the character does certain things to match up the taunts and the animations and things like that. So for his taunts, I just want to just go through this really quickly. Clyde can have something that can reference his freakout moments when he's around Lori. Because he cannot act normal, he never does. He just loses his cool, he gets nervous, he bails and just runs and just loses his whole momentum, and he's just not the same person when Lori is around him. So I thought this could be something that could be added as a taunt as something for silly fun. So when he says abort, abort, he said abort, abort. Red alert, does not compute, abort, abort, abort. He can say stuff like that on a taunt as a taunt, and he does that little robot stance in front of Lori, and he just ends up losing his cool. So that could be something that would be a really funny taunt that I wanted to add as an idea. And then he could say, cool, for another one, cool is my middle name. It was when Lincoln and Loud and Clyde were hanging out, and he does like a cool little pose. Cool is my middle name, and he flips the little water cup over to style. But what he also says in the show, for to combo with his line, cool is my middle name, he can bring out his $1,000,000 smile as he claims to have, with a cool pose to match up with that animation for his taunt. So those are just a couple of taunts that I ended up coming up with. And then his iconic line, he also says this in Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. Leave it to Clinkin McCloud. This could be an iconic line for him to be included for battle for his personality, and a little bit of a shout out to his best friend Lincoln Loud. His partner in crime that they always be able to hang out and get into different adventures with. It's a nice little nod to his best buddy Lincoln Loud. And it'll be awesome to see them go up against each other to get some kind of unique interactions between them. It'll be cool to see that happen if they implement it, because they know each other and they're from the same world. Now, the winning and losing animations. I was lucky enough to try to find, one of the episodes to really be able to match up with his winning and losing animations. His winning animation, I wanted to give him a party dance. I was trying to think of who dances. Ren and Stimpy, for example. I wanted to bring them up. Ren and Stimpy, they dance for their winning animations. As one of their winning animations, they dance. So I think they'll do something like this. The party dance where Lincoln and Clyde were celebrating, we're going to the party, we're going to the party, we're going to the party when they were invited. I couldn't find the actual episode when they were doing this. This dance is also included in Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 and 3 as part of Clyde's winning animations, so I think the developers would follow suit and add the same dance that they have for Kart Racers 2 and 3 to be implemented into the game. I think it's highly likely to be his winning animation. So I wanted to list this episode. I don't know if it was Strife of the Party or the Party Down episode, maybe one of the two, but I don't know. Maybe I could have the wrong episode, but it's something that actually happens in the show when they're getting excited to go to the party. That same dance is in the Kart Racers 2 and 3 winning animation. His losing animation, I wanted to I wanted to take Clyde's famous infinite nose bleeding animation, and I wanted to include that for his losing animation. And just to add on to it, his nose could be bleeding infinitely with his glasses being broken or his glasses lens, one of his lens of his glasses being popped out of his glasses with his nose bleeding. So I think that'll be an ideal losing animation. I almost wanted to add it as a taunt, but I think it fits his losing animation after a fight and after a brawl. His nose is bleeding and things like that, and he's looking rough after a fight, after the battlefield. So the final portion of this premiere is the move set, and just looking at these characters, every single character, regardless of the roster changes, every single character is unique. They have their own moveset that pays homage to their abilities, their powers and abilities, and unpredictability. And that's what I wanted to do for Clyde. And I wanted to make him stand out for his moveset. And the big question is, would you guys want to see him in the next game? Would you guys play as him? Do you think he fits the role of being a fighter? Or maybe he should just stay as a playable racer instead? Maybe some people might have different opinions. So I wanted to turn this into a moveset as great as possible. And my favorite part of this that I want to get into, this is the moveset to wrap up the premiere. His anger, his rage. And I call this, it's taken directly from the show, the Desert Storm anger ability with his own rage meter mechanic, where this meter goes up as the battle starts and you press the button to activate Clyde's rage. And when enraged, Clyde gains superhuman strength where all his attacks deal massive damage and his movement speed increases. When the bar depletes, Clyde he'll exhale for a few seconds to regain control, leaving him vulnerable. And I got this from the All the Rage episode. And just when you watch this, you can even watch the clip if you want. Clyde has so much anger and so much rage, he becomes super strong, and it definitely makes him worthy of being a character in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. And just when I watched the clip and seeing the way he dominated in Dodgeball, and everybody was afraid of him. Even some of the even the other students that were in a higher grade than he is, they were all scared of him. Everybody was scared of Clyde, and he took out the whole team, every single dodgeball team that they faced all throughout the week for dodgeball week. By himself, he handled them all. No, he didn't even need a team, and it just shows his potential. It shows how much of a unique character he can be for this game, and it allows him to fit the role for the brawl, for the battlefield, to be able to be a character within himself. So this is from the All the Rage episode, and you can even type it in on the search bar, Clyde, Clyde McBride, dodgeball. Just type that in on the search engine here on YouTube. You're going to be able to find that clip and see him go crazy in dodgeball and just be able to unleash his rage. I think this will be a cool little ability. I don't want to make this into his super or his final smash, some people still say. I gave him a different super that I'm going to be getting into. I think this is a ability that belongs to his moveset kit, and it can really be able to allow him to stand out and be someone really dangerous that you don't want to go up against. Because as the rage meter goes up, you'll be able to do more damage, and you're going to be so much faster than your opponent. You're not going to be easy to keep up with, and your opponent's going to really try to dodge and play keep away until that rage meter expires. Because once it expires, he's just gonna try to, take some deep breaths and really be able to exhale and then get back to normal. Because of course he won't be able to do as much damage when he's not in his rage mode, of course, to deal double and be able to move as quick. But he's going to be someone that you want to watch out for with this rage. And I think the developers are definitely implement his rage for part of his ability. It might even become his super, but I wanted to do something different by turning it into something, a part of his move set, and not just relying on it to be a ultimate for him. It'll be something to make him that more dangerous, and you don't want to get close to him. You want to just stay out of his way. So Clyde's dodgeball rage he uses to destroy a gym wall during a dodgeball game and destroy every single team. It just made me want him in this game for the next game for sure. And he's definitely a top pick for me now, just seeing what he was capable of. And I didn't even know he had this kind of power. So outside of just having it as an ability, I wanted to have it. I wanted to turn the dodgeball into its own projectile move. So it's going to be two different projectile techniques that I came up with. Just a regular dodgeball throw that's going to be a basic projectile attack. Is dodgeball weak on the battlefield? Clyde throws a dodgeball at opponents and can also charge up the ball to unleash a dodgeball tornado that could trap opponents inside and launch them off the stage. And you can also see this in the same episode clip when he gets really mad. He just goes crazy. I really would love to see this move just involved into its own little projectile. And I was trying to think of, it was characters like Gerald, for example, with the baseball. When he throws it, he'll wind up the baseball, but if you just press it and release the baseball, he's only gonna throw the baseball at a short distance. But when you charge it up all the way, he throws the baseball even further. So that's where I got the inspiration from. Not even just what he does with throwing the dodgeball. He was launching multiple dodgeballs like there were bullets, like a Gatling gun or something like that. That can also be a move as well. But I utilized the tornado to really try to take in multiple opponents, so that way it can really be able to handle more than just one opponent on the field. So if you're going against multiple opponents in a 4-player free for all, you could be able to get all three, maybe even potentially all three kills or all three knockouts, just from charging up his dodgeball tornado that can really be able to take them in and it'll launch everybody all at once. It's good for crowd control also, so that's something else that I wanted to do for his dodgeball technique. So two different projectile moves onto one. If you charge it, you can make that dodgeball a little tornado to really be able to deal more damage and also be able to get more than one player out of the ring. So his next move, master strategist, that I came up with, Clyde can use his strategic mind to analyze the opponent and gain a temporary buff to his next attack. So he can charge up his dodgeball to really be able to, once he analyzes his opponent, because he has that intel, he has that intellect with his intelligent mind and his psyche, he can really be able to analyze his opponent with his smarts to really utilize that on the battlefield. That's what I wanted to do with his character, because he's so smart in the show. He's not that average student. He's way above his intellect with his high intelligence. So I wanted to use that for part of his moveset that I came up with. So he'll be able to get a temporary buff to his next attack once he analyzes the opponents. And if there's more than one opponent, this move will last longer with the buff. The buff is going to last longer. If you're going against two or more players, that buff is going to be able to last a little bit longer. So that way he'll be able to get some early damage on you, and he can probably be able to knock you out a little bit earlier within a short period of time with his strategist ability. So the next move, Battle of the Books, I just want to utilize some of the uses, the books and the school and just his knowledge with his book intelligence and things like that. This move, Battle of the Books, classes in session, Clyde can attack by swinging a book for a short 3-hit combo. So I wanted to turn that into his little hit with his move, and with one of his combo moves with his light hits, and really be able to do some damage with some books, and he'll be able to smack you around with the books. And he can slam it on you as well with a nice little book slam to finish for a different, if it's like a neutral strong move for an idea. The next move, allergy emergency, that I came with, I try to be unique with this, as unique as I could be, to give him some kind of a good move pool. So allergy emergency is about, for just to explain it, Clyde suddenly experiences an allergy reaction causing him to sneeze that can give him unpredictable movement, making him stumble into nearby enemies. So you just never know. You just know how some of the characters can trip up and run right into you. It made me think of, see how Rocco just look with his animation? It made me think of Rocco's a little bit, but I wanted to spice it up and give it that little bit of his allergic, his a little bit of a allergic reaction for his move to make him stumble into opponents. So it made me think of how Rocco moves and with his running attack per se. So Clyde can suddenly experience an allergic reaction causing him to sneeze that can give him unpredictable movement, so he'll be able to knock into you. So it'll be a close range attack with his sneeze, and he can still be able to knock you a little bit further. So this next move, I almost had the hiccups. This next move, I wanted to. I was thinking about Iroh with his tea drinking, with the jasmine tea drinking, and this move, the last crumb, because he's gonna be eating food. He's gonna eat, or he's gonna eat gluten-free items or gluten-free food, which is how he eats in the show. That's his diet, and that's how he eats healthy, and he cannot have anything. He cannot eat any food that has gluten in it. So he eats organic foods and gluten-free foods from the show. Just a nice little reference from the show of how he is. It represents his personality. So with this last crumb little move ability name, Clyde can eat a wide variety of gluten-free foods. Each of the three selected items that I came up with from the show to reference what he eats from the show can heal a certain percentage and can be brought out in this order. So I wanted to try to find. This would kind of give me a little bit of trouble. I wanted to try to find a balance for the food. So most of the items in Super Smash Bros, for example, heal for 9 to 12%. So I think it would be better than the 15% recovery per item, because Iroh's Jasmine Tea will recover 15% each time he would take a sip from the Jasmine Tea. It was a little bit overpowered, and I think they actually changed it. So I don't think it has the same 15% recovery. It still gives the benefits of healing. I think it's now less than 15%, because I don't know what it has been nerfed to now. Because it used to be 15% per sip. When he drinks the jasmine tea, it'll be easier to recover. So you start running. So if you're playing on a bigger stage, you can start running and start drinking that jasmine tea, and it'll keep you in the fight. And it'll also enhance his firebending skills, which it also does. It still enhances his firebending abilities, but he recovers less from each sip that he takes from his jasmine tea, his jasmine tea. So I wanted to get that proper balance. So I thought, just doing the research between the food items in Super Smash Bros. Outside of the heart container from Zelda that increases 100% of your health, and then a Krabby Patty that actually exists in this game recovers 50% of your health. I didn't want to do it like that. So the meals, or the gluten-free foods I selected, was the rice meal, the organic mash, and the stewed apricot that he mentions in the show that he also has with Lincoln Loud when he invites him over to his family for family dinner to hang out and stuff like that. So the rice meal, the organic mash, and stewed apricot, or the apricot that he talks about and mentions as gluten-free foods that he really loves to eat for healthy choices and such. These foods are going to recover between 9 to 12% to get that balance. So it's not too overpowered, and he's not going to be able to eat all the time. It's just going to have that proper cooldown. So you cannot spam that same move, and will spam his food healing ability to just try to give yourself an advantage. It's going to be a proper cooldown, so you can't just be recovering too much throughout the fight, and you can't just be campy. So he won't be able to go to his gluten-free meals all the way, right away, right then and there. So his final, just to wrap up, I just thought Iroh would be the perfect example, because he's the only character that can recover. Sometimes Grandma Gertie can bring out a recovery item, but it's just so random. You just never know what you're gonna get, and what she's gonna bring out of her purse is it's a random chance. Sometimes it could be that little dynamite. It could be a giant bowling ball that's gonna roll across the screen, and that piano that floats up and then comes out of the sky, comes falling out of the sky. That giant piano. It's just a random chance. So it's just going to be the same proper order with the rice meal, the mash, and the apricot. So that way, the player knows what he or she is going to be able to get when you're ready to recover. So if you had that rice meal, your next pick is going to be the organic mash. That's going to be your next gluten-free choice. So 3 different unique food choices for Clyde. So to wrap up, his recovery move, I call it this: always be prepared, because his parents taught him to always be prepared for any sort of situation for his recovery move. And I got this from the Snow Way Down episode. I had no idea how he was going to be able to recover in this game, because Lucy Loud has her own unique recoveries and things like that. And Lincoln Loud, he takes on his inner Ace Savvy when he does his recovery move. I don't know. I don't even think One-Eye Jack can fly, can he? Maybe I could have did like that. Maybe he can fly, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So Clyde can use an extreme sled parachute to glide on a rail in midair and slowly descend with his parachute back onto the stage. He can also toss a rope to break his fall and climb up. So he did this in the Snow Way Down episode when he took that, when he wanted to make his life he wanted to live on edge a little bit in doing these daredevil stunts and things like that. This was something from the Snow Way Down episode when he took the rail all the way down and he was able to save his parents and Lincoln Loud with his extreme sled. That wasn't just it wasn't just an ordinary sled. It was something that he could really be able to save himself to break his fall. So characters like Jimmy Neutron with his hover car and things like that, it's going to be something completely different. And then Jenny that have manual control. I was thinking about Mr. Krabs' recovery with that fishing rod that he does to be able to recover. So with his rope, it's going to work something similar to that when he throws it up. But he can also be able to use the sled and parachute. So he'll have 2 different sort of recoveries into one. So something a little bit different that I'd never done with the characters before. It also has been done from the show and from that same little episode, Snow Way Down. So now the final part. I love being able to come out with the different supers and the different techniques that they can do for ultimate attacks. It could go hand in hand. Maybe some people might think that dodgeball rage can make him go crazy and really be able to unleash his madness on the field and just destroy everybody for a super. That could also work. But for his ultimate, as y'all see on the design, is Clyde of the McBride clan warrior transformation. So he's going to transform into Clyde of the clan warrior himself, which I thought would be a cool little idea for his design. It's like a Hawk-like transformation for a super form. He's a muscular warrior with a staff who wears black boots, large silver rims, black shorts, and a lime green belt with a large gold buckle, and a blue collar, and a black armbands and things like that. What he can say when you transform and activate his super: let's conquer all the enemies of doom. That's what he's going to end up saying when you activate his super, and he's going to really be able to go crazy on you. This is from the 10-headed beast episode where Lincoln was also a barbarian, which could also possibly fit Nicktoons Dice of Destiny. It could be something like this. Clyde could probably be able to get into the game with this transformation. Clyde the warrior, the clan warrior. This will look really cool to see. And see how Retar transforms with his super? He grows into a giant. And the city, he just stomps and destroys the city and everything around him and lights everything on fire. It's something that could be a nice little transformation, and almost like a Wario reference with his final smash. He says, "Here I go," from Super Smash Bros. He transforms into, the Wario Man or Super Wario with that transformation, and you could be able to control Clyde the Clan Warrior with his ultimate to give him manual control. That's something that I'm going to be looking for in the next game if it does happen, because when you activate these characters' supers, it's just a one and done. If you hit, if you successfully connect with the super, it'll activate. But some of these characters can have transformations, like Shredder, for example. If he was in this game, he could be able to, if he was a playable character, since he is a boss in this game currently, he could transform into Super Shredder. That would have been something that would have been perfect for him. Avatar, ain't going, Avatar State, Korra, they both do in a way with their ultimates, but you can give them manual control, like Supersonic. Sonic the Hedgehog was able to have manual control in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, because I feel like they had the better final smashes in that game, because you had manual control with some of these characters when you get their final smash and their ultimate ability unlocked or just activated at the ready, that you can be able to unleash. So having Clyde the Clan Warrior, Clyde McBride Clan Warrior transfer, or the Clan Warrior, I think he'll look really cool. He's going to be deadly. He's going to be able to deal a lot of damage. I would definitely love to see him get into this game. It was so much just to really try to come up with for this character. It can be his rage. Maybe he can be enraged while he's Clyde the Warrior, the Clan Warrior, to conquer all the enemies of doom, as he says. It's quoted from the 10-Headed Beast episode. That's a perfect super for him, and I think a lot of people will really like that if he does get in as a playable character. There's no telling what's going to happen since this game is over, but we're just going to have to wait and see. But I will definitely, now just being able to find out what he's capable of with his rage and all his power and his super strength, I would love to see him become a playable character in the game. I really hope he does. In the near future, if he gets picked up, it's more than likely he's going to get picked up because he made it into Kart Racer series. What's stopping them from adding him into a Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl? He can definitely be able to get a chance to get a shine on. He doesn't even have to play like Nickelodeon. And the main goal for this video and for this moveset request was to make him stand out on his own, so he not just some Lincoln Loud clone or an Echo fighter. He can fight by himself. He has the more intellect than Lincoln Loud and more techniques and different abilities. Everybody was scared of Clyde from that episode himself. He handled himself. No one wanted to get near him. And when he just unleashed his rage, he became a completely different person with all the strength that you could possibly imagine. That makes him a fighter. That makes him fighter worthy. And just with all that he knows and with his intellect, he'll be able to go head to head with Donatello. He might even be able to outsmart Donatello. With some kind of intellect, with the smarts that he has, Clyde McBride can be someone that can go head to head and be able to potentially outsmart characters like Jimmy Neutron, geniuses like Jimmy Neutron and Donatello. He might be able to know some things that they don't know. They won't even know what he's gonna do. I think he'll be an unpredictable character. He doesn't have to play like Lincoln Loud. He has his own abilities. But it was fun putting this together. I definitely want to try to get some more characters put together at some point. They just take a little bit of time just to design the thumbnail and things like that. I definitely had a lot of fun with this. I'm going to keep on keeping on with the series. I'm not sure what the next character will be, but it just makes this series so much fun to do because it's always a different character with a different story, a different background, and just a whole different personality and a whole different world. That's what makes these crossovers so much fun to see and unique and exciting, because we just don't know who's going to be able to get into some of these titles. But I hope y'all have fun watching. I definitely wanted to get this character out as quick as possible throughout the weekend, and I have fun putting it together, doing the research. Now Clyde is one of the characters I definitely want to see from the Loud House get into the game. Hopefully in the near future, if we do get another title, I wouldn't even mind seeing him in Dice and Destiny at this point, because that Clan Warrior skin is gonna look cool for him to be a playable character. If he does get picked up in Dice of Destiny, he can probably get in later on down the road.